Welcome to AdventureSphere. This channel is dedicated to missing people who are associated with a still missing vehicle. We ask you to consider subscribing, watch our content, ring the notification bell to learn when we upload new information, and share our videos to help spread awareness that will help us locate people who've lost their voice. The National Suicide Prevention Lifeline can be reached by dialing 988 or 1-800-273-8255. Calls are free and confidential. Every year, over 600,000 individuals go missing in the United States, according to the National Missing and Unidentified Person System. While many are quickly found and returned to their families, others remain missing as years pass by. This story is about Charles and Robert. So, Janice Calligres, then 46, arrived at her friend's home at 314 Country Living Circle, a corner lot surrounded by majestic trees, underbrush, and dirt roads within the Country Living Estates community, approximately 1 mile east of Melrose, Florida. The homeowner, Willie L., or WL for short, Durden, then 53, heard another knock on the door just a few minutes after Janice arrived. Willie appeared to know the 30 to 40-year-old man. He showed up with a towel around his arm to make it look injured. Underneath it, he had a plastic 2-liter bottle that was cut in half and tucked under the towel, along with a gun that had the business end of the gun trying to peek through the pour spout of the 2-liter bottle. "Don't do this," is all Willie was able to utter before he was struck by 4 bullets and dropped to the floor. Janice immediately phoned the police and ambulance to try to save Willie and apprehend the criminal. I found it interesting that the guy was trying to protect himself from the gunshot residue on his person. Why? Is he known to higher-ups in law enforcement? No access to a shower to clean it off? As law enforcement were investigating, they received complaints about the property being used for drug activity. However, they were unable to find motive for the killing that occurred on August 18th, 2005. But this story is about 2 other men. The first is Charles Alfonzo Walden IV. He was 31 and missing from Melrose, Florida. Charles worked odd jobs and bred dogs. He was married to Karen for 9 years. Karen said he occasionally stayed out late, but always came home. She said it had to be a life or death matter for Charles to not come home. A friend's mother rented a silver 4-door 2005 Buick Rendezvous with Florida license plate Q992, letter Z, letter U, from Budget Rental in Gainesville, Florida. At the time, Charles and Karen were living in Melrose as well. Charles made dinner for Karen and their 2 daughters on Sunday, August 21st, 2005, then headed out to his friend Robert Edward Julian Jr.'s home at 4:30 in the rented vehicle. He arrived at Julian's home approximately 5 p.m. Robert Edward Julian Jr. was 45 at the time of his disappearance and worked as a car painter and lived at 113 3rd Street in Melrose with his parents for a few years to help his mother care for her 98-year-old father. Robert jumped in the Rendezvous and the gentleman left. No one knows where the men went or why, and everything seemed normal prior to their disappearance. Both gentlemen do have arrest records for nonviolent crimes. There is only 2 men missing. Why bring up the murder of Willie Durden? He was a really close friend to both Charles and Robert. Was their disappearance somehow tied to Willie's ambush? There is also a rumor the men went to where Hurricane Katrina made landfall. Katrina started to develop 2 days after the men were reported missing. Reminder, they were reported missing August 21st. Katrina started to form August 23rd, and that didn't make landfall until August 29th. It's an 8-hour drive from Melrose, Florida to New Orleans. If the men did go, it sounds as if at least Karen would have known. If they drove straight through, they would have arrived in the middle of the night. They may have been on an unfamiliar route with, they may have been unfamiliar with the route and ended up in water somewhere along the way. Either man could have fallen asleep while driving and ended up in the water. There are 2 or 3 or so other cases of people traveling between the Florida and Mexico corridor on the same route here. So there's a good possibility that any search and recovery team investigating one case might solve another in the process. The weather at 5 p.m. when Charles went to Robert's home, it was 85 degrees out. The low would be 73, and the sunset would be at 8:05 p.m. I did find another little bit of information after I had done all the investigating and was about ready to post it. So this article said that the sheriff's deputies found Willie Durden. Janice is his girlfriend. Willie's ex-wife, Betty Durden. Daniels followed up with the sheriff's office for a progress report. The 911 call came in shortly after 6 a.m., and the investigators learned that 2 unknown men were possible attackers and that it appeared to be they were trying to break into the home. Drugs may have played a factor. The residences on the property have since been condemned. I tried to find an article following up with the inspections, and I couldn't find anything. So the Putnam County Sheriff's Office is investigating. They can be reached at 386-329-0825. Their case number is 059430. Family members have submitted their DNA to help expedite their identification. Investigators with the Sheriff's Office requested search warrants for their cell phone records, as well as re-interviewing potential witnesses. I'd be really appreciative if I could find out the coordinates of their last cell phone pings, as Charles and Robert would likely be within just a few miles of the last ping. For now, we know that they were last seen at 113 3rd Street. The Google search area will start here. If they remain missing after the sonar searches, we can explore other areas in Florida as well as the corridor to head out to New Orleans. On the outside, it looks like there's a lot of sinkholes. Did one form around them at the same time as Robert and Charles vanished? I don't know. So I do have some questions. If any of their family or friends see this, maybe it would help us reduce the search area. Did either of them volunteer anywhere or attend church? What kind of hobbies were they into? What types of dogs were bred by Charles? Would they prefer to go out or stay home? Were they typically early birds or night owls? Did they give any possessions away in the month or 2 before they disappeared? Do they prefer driving on main roads or back roads? Are they comfortable driving at night? Were the automated license plate readers checked? Let's see here. Are they conditioned to driving long distances, perhaps more than 3 hours at a time? And then did either of them have any chronic health issues, such as being diabetic, epileptic, any recent head trauma? And what was the place of their last verified financial transaction? A date and a time might help us if we cannot reach the cell phone ping. So let's see here. The areas I have I'm going to mention here are shared with my blessing, so Robert and Charles can be reunited with their families, regardless who higher powers work through. The description box has their email address if you'd like to share insight on any cold case, know somebody missing with a vehicle and would like them featured on our channel and searched for, or to donate equipment. The video of Google Earth has a measurement from our current bus starting location, which was where Robert was at the time, and then goes out to possible search areas. We focus on bodies of water within 5 miles of their last known location and within 5 miles of a known destination. And I mentioned earlier we can expand the search area if an area's been heavily searched, but please keep in mind that accidents do tend to happen closer to home. So we've got Lake Serena, Swan Lake, Lake Swan Camp, 2 Mile Pond, Lake Melrose, Lake Santa Fe, Lake Geneva, Lake Brooklyn, Crystal Lake, White Sands Lake, Silver Sand Lake, Smith Lake, Bundy Lake, Bass Lake, Blocker Lake, Clubhouse Lake, Brantley Lake, Enslow Lake, Goose Lake, Ross Lake, Lake Rosa, Half Moon Lake, and side note, the Putnam Hall is only 2 miles from Robert's home. Putnam Hall is where Willie's home was at. Every day, 1,600 people go missing in the United States. Your donation brings closure to families with missing loved ones, like Charles and Robert, by helping us secure equipment and getting us to locations all around the United States where missing people may be found using cutting-edge sonar technology. Our mobile unit is able to assist families in small towns that need the high-end sonar equipment and diving services. We can also assist large cities as adjunct professionals. We help families and area government and other public safety entities free of charge. When you donate to AdventureSphere, you ensure that volunteers can continue to help locate those who've lost their voice. Thank you for your support. If you'd like to help Robert and Charles' family find them, please subscribe, give the video a thumbs up, and ring the notification bell to receive progress reports. Thanks for watching. Stay safe. We love you.